Yes.
Did you get it to open your phone?
Okay, so thank you all for coming out tonight. I've grown accustomed to interrupting everybody at the exact same time, and I've said that too many times, but tonight I kind of have to because we're recording. So I want to make sure you know so you don't say anything you shouldn't. Anyway, welcome. This is the Big Data Utah Users Group. It's part of Utah Geek Events. We have the Utah Hadoop Users Group, the Hadoop Lunch at Adobe, a whole bunch of other events. You can find most of them on meetup.com. How many people here tonight are brand new, have never been to one of our events before? That's great. Welcome. So we're going to make you all introduce yourselves at some point. We're going to give you some time before we do that. For tonight, let me first talk a little bit about who, what, where, when, why we exist. We are a meetup group. We're a whole community. And it's people all the way up and down the Wasatch Front. We're connected to the White House, to the West Big Data Hubs out of Chicago or out of California, groups all over the country, all over the world. And our goal is to be a leader for everyone. In fact, we want Utah to be a big data or a data hub in general for the entire world. What that means is not necessarily that we have more big data engineers and data scientists and things along those lines, but we find ways to lead, to help others understand what the path is within data and how to make a successful career or company or increase the value that you provide. And do something better for the world, and watch how we do it here. With that, we run competitions twice a year. We do a lot of different meetup groups with training, with other opportunities to help people grow their career. And we also run competitions. Those competitions go in the spring and winter and spring, and then summer and fall. This is our summer and fall competition. We always focus on something that's related to data science for social good in the summer and fall. And this one is going to be all things data, which is really fun and really cool. And then in the winter and spring, we focus on business-related cases. Occasionally, we'll do a large global data competition. And next year, we'll actually be part of a large global data competition as well. And we've done one in the past on all sorts of cool stuff related to data as well. This particular year, and this is the only kind of giveaway I'll provide at this point, but we have been awarded $3 million of credits on Microsoft Azure. And we're in conversations with Amazon now as well to talk about other large credits. So this one is also amazing, and we have lots of cool, fun stuff to provide as resources for everybody, but we'll get into that in a minute. For now, we're going to have Pat Wright talk about some upcoming events and the things we've done in the past.
Okay, so the big upcoming events, and you're going to have to remind me all of them, of course, but September, International Data Week in Colorado. That is coming up very soon. Carrie tells me that the early registration is closed, but otherwise you can still register. It's a week-long conference/event in Colorado that we just learned about. Next week, we are doing the official kickoff of this competition. Where are we doing that?
I think Big Analytics is outdoors.
That's right. And then coming up, the Intermountain Data Conference. Not yet. The Intermountain Data Conference and SQL Saturday is coming up on November 19th. That is the other major event that we do throughout the year, just like Code Camp. This one is all about data, all sessions on data all day, basically about 10 tracks, lots and lots of hours. We're looking for tons of speakers there. We'll probably have anywhere from 50 to 60 different speakers. And we just want to fill the day all about data. And all about data means you can talk about open source data technologies, you can talk about proprietary data technologies, you can talk about whatever you want as long as it relates to data in some way, shape, or form. Which everything relates to data in some way, shape, or form, right? That's why we're all here. So visualization, story time, whatever you want to talk about on data, that is the place to be. We will be opening the call for speakers in the next 1 to 2 weeks. We've got it open already for the SQL Saturday side. If you go to utahsqlsaturday.com, you can see some of the sessions that have already been there. But those two events basically take place on the same day. 100% free. We'll also give you lunch that day and chance to win prizes, things like that. So it's really a great event. November 19th, mark it down in your calendar and make sure you're there. And hopefully, I'll get a few speakers out of you too. If you want to hear more about speaking or what you need to do, please come see me. I'm more than happy to convince you that you really do need to speak at our events.
Let me restate that. When he said 50, 60 people, he actually made a count of the room first. So he expects all of you.
Yes.
If anyone in the room uses Tableau, I've twisted Mike Roberts' arm, and he's a Zen master for Tableau, and he will be speaking.
So lots of, and we'll have lots and lots of great sessions. And we get speakers from all around the country, but I want speakers here locally more than anything else. You are the community here in Utah, and as Nick said, we are trying to build this up to the community. So we want everybody here speaking and presenting and being the experts. Okay, so past competitions that we've done. I'm not going to go chronologically through all of them because honestly, I can't remember them all. First, was it health equity first? Yeah, I think it's health equity. Yeah, so we did some analyst data for health equity, trying to help them figure out how much you should put into your HSA accounts so that you can make sure you can handle all those things you do when you get really older. You know, you go skydiving, you break your back, that's a big problem. How much money do you need in your account to deal with that? Not all of us go skydiving. The next one was air quality, I believe, or sentiment analysis, one of the two. So we've done a bunch of different competitions that are a lot of fun. The air quality, we did tons and tons of training beforehand, and then we broke off into teams and actually worked on trying to better the air quality here in Utah. Found out a lot of great information about that, made some rather controversial statements, but it was a lot of fun and we learned a ton from that. And we just continue to keep doing it. And, you know, people win things from it. What was the last one we just did? I'm trying to remember this. The most recent was...
we did the global data competition.
The global data competition.
The Taylor Swift.
The Taylor Swift audio file, yes. Predict Taylor Swift's next big song in 2 seconds or less. Actually, it was like 1 second.
No, it was 3/10 of a second.
It was a 3/10 of a second.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how we come up with these things, but we do.
The community came up with that one.
Yeah. Can't blame us for that one. So there's a, you know, we do a lot of great competitions. It brings the community together too. And when we say competition, we want you to get together as teams and compete. But at the same time, we want you to find other people that you haven't networked with before. Many of the people in this room has participated in the competitions, got jobs in the future, got careers in the future because of those participation in the networking of that event. So that's really the purpose of it. We're not trying to combat the community or anything like that with competition, but it gets you a way to come together and then compete against other people. And it's a great way to do it. You know, keep changing those teams, and that just helps get you more and more of a network. Any other questions on the competitions in the past or upcoming events? Does anybody know any other upcoming events that I may have missed that they're aware of? Okay, because we try to, at Utah Geek Events, we try to send out events about just about everything out in the community. We try to increase it all the time. Yes, Bart?
I mentioned this last time, but we now have a firm date. We will be doing a 2-day hackathon. We're calling the Data Science Charrette in Utah County, Utah Valley University on Friday, December 2nd and Saturday, December 3rd.
Awesome, cool.
And I will have more information about that. We'll be doing another one in March or April that will not conflict with Pat's event in Salt Lake City.
Yeah, we take December off, so you're good with that one.
Yeah, Code Camp will be coming up in March of next year. As soon as we have the dates, we'll definitely publicize them. But we had those yet. And absolutely, Bart will send out information once we get that from him. We'll send that out to the group. So yeah, any other events anybody's thought of or I did not mention? Okay. That's all we can do with that.
Okay, like I mentioned, we'll give everybody time to introduce themselves in a little bit. For now, I'd like to have Holden come up and introduce himself and his company and why we have this competition.
Absolutely, and thanks for the intro too, Pat. So I'm Holden. I'm a representative with Qubole, and my main job here is basically to show you guys this technology. Hopefully, you like it, and come up with cool events that we do like this with the competitions. Qubole itself is essentially a big data platform that's hosted on AWS. So very enabling from a self-service analytics standpoint. We find that a lot of data scientists are using our platform, so one place that we want to use our tool is for good. And this is kind of where we found a good place that we can essentially work together and coming up with a competition around education and how we can essentially improve this college selection process through that.
And Holden's being a little bit too modest. Holden got a hold of me and said, look, Qubole would really like to be able to help communities, to help people grow. How can we make something great happen? How can we put together a challenge and competition? And now he and his team have helped with setting up marketing and websites and all of the copy and all of the information and putting together this presentation and thinking through all the ideas and everything else. So I really want to be able to thank Qubole for everything that they've done and Holden that he's done as kind of leading that team as well.
So, yeah, I mean, I pretty much approached Nate out of the blue and was just like, hey, let's do a competition. And I talked to the Think Big guys and a couple other people at one of these meetups, and I essentially was like, hey, all these people want to do it, so let's go. And yeah, here we are today. So essentially, kind of our main objective here is we're looking at the college selection process. We're leaving, the kind of format as far as your objectives open. So we want you guys as a team to collaborate and come up with kind of an objective and a hypothesis of how you can improve this process. And you essentially can basically come up with your own data sets as long as they're public. And we will host these inside of AWS, as well as cover all the costs from EC2 and S3. So you guys can just run your compute if you want to use things like RStudio or do different visualizations with maybe Angular or all sorts of different technologies like Spark and Presto. This is the place you can do that, and this is the environment that we are working on just provisioning for you guys. We're also going to work together during this whole process to provide you guys with training, catch you up to speed on different machine learning 101s, and all sorts of other resources there. So kind of without further ado, we'll dig into a little bit more of what the competition is and how we all got together. So Qubole is the technology, but we are working very closely with NDSO, Nick's group, as well as a lot of the Utah Geek events out here, and Think Big to help run the training. And also Pearson, which is a customer of ours, and they their data science team is really interested in kind of watching this and maybe how they can apply it within their own world, as well as basically coming in as a judge to help moderate and provide their insights from the education technology space. Qubole itself was co-founded by two of the core authors of the Apache Hive project. And during this time, they essentially were working at Facebook and tasked with essentially how can we make big data available to all our analysts because everyone is using SQL. And so that's kind of where the genesis of Hive came from. And then furthermore, from there, after they tapped into that open source community, it became, okay, well, how can we replicate this big data platform for the cloud? So I'm not going to really sell you too much on Qubole, but this is, a bit of our background. And our platform has just become a huge enablement for a lot of companies. These are some of our biggest customers today. We kind of stem from a lot of the cloud native companies. And today, a lot more companies are starting to utilize the cloud and realize you don't have to buy servers and, manage this very kind of heavy infrastructure, and you can have these ephemeral clusters and only utilize what you need. And so, you know, that's kind of the perfect place for analytics, because you run a job and you may not need to ever run that job again. So that's where the cloud and big data we've found is great management there. And final bragging rate, we process over 340 petabytes a month in the cloud.
Oh.
So lots of data. Back to the competition. So our main goal here is, you know, we want anyone who's interested in machine learning, anyone who's interested in data science to participate. Even if you're a data engineer, if you're an admin, we want you to be involved in this competition. This is a great place for people to work together, to come up with their analytics idea, figure out a problem statement, and then work through the whole analytics lifecycle of how to solve that problem, all the way up to visualization, doing machine learning modeling, and coming up with different techniques of how to solve these problems. Furthermore, this is going to be a great opportunity for you to network with a lot of people in the local area, as well as get great exposure nationally to a lot of different communities, government organizations, and other companies. It's also for social good, and you know, you get to show off. So,
So let me go a little bit further into the goal. So when we think about building entire communities, it's really hard to think about how do you help the person who's in school currently, who barely knows what data is, and the extremely senior data scientist at the time. How do you create a challenge that's going to be valuable for everybody along the scale? How do you create something that's going to be interesting for everybody and that you're going to feel motivated by? And that's going to be something that's actually exciting and worth your time, because we know you're all busy, regardless of what stage you're at in your life. So how do we create something that you really want without being able to ask each one of you? Now, one, we're open to feedback. So please tell us if there are things or ideas or other components of the competition itself that you would really like to see. But we've tried to think that through, and we've talked through a lot of different groups. So when Holden talks about the national recognition, I'm part of the National Data Science Organizers, and I was just elected to be on the steering committee for the West Big Data Hub. And all of them will hear about what the competition is, how it looks like, everything else. But also the White House is essentially standing by to see what you do. You know, some of you might feel like that's terrifying. I shouldn't say that. They're probably going to be mad. To then provide introductions to you to the best in academia and in government and in industry, and other people like the groups straight out of AmLabs and Berkeley and Stanford and Columbia. And so part of this competition is to help you grow your career and to help you achieve what you want to achieve. So a quick kind of analogy. Has anybody gone up to the Leonardo since they opened some of their flight exhibit stuff? Check it out. Shameless plug there. I guess it's not shameless, it's not getting from it. But anyway, it's pretty incredible. Right? When you come in, they have a full MIG built in there. And you start out by looking at some of the drawings that Leonardo himself put up on the wall. And one of the first things that you read if you stop and take a second at the entrance there is why Leonardo was so interested in flight himself at all. There's a story about how when he was a baby, when he was in the crib, a bird flew down into the crib and its wing touched his ear, and for some reason that impression stayed with him throughout the rest of his life. And because of it, he was always fascinated by flight and by this ability to be able to take off and do what the birds did. We all know Leonardo was one of the most innovative, creative people out there. He was both incredibly artistic, but also very scientific, right? And that, to me, is a perfect archetype for a true data scientist. We all talk about how it's 8 million different things, and it's a combination of value and of domain expertise and of skills and our core skills and how do we tie in all these other things. The reality is, it's people that are able to create, to be able to think differently about the world, and use data and all of these practices and solutions behind it to tell a different story or to provide a different kind of value that maybe couldn't have been there before. So what we want to create with this competition is the opportunity for you to build teams, to collaborate, to work together, to think outside of the box, and to do something incredible. We're giving you resources, and we're hopefully giving you a clear path where you can figure out what you want to achieve in life, or in the next 3 months, or the next 10 years, or whatever it may be, and how this competition can help you get there. I hope that doesn't sound like hyperbole, because we've seen it happen in the past. So start thinking before we get to the introductions about what you want and how this competition can help you. Because when we get to that stage, that'd be one of the things I'd like for you to bring up when you introduce yourselves.
So, absolutely. No, I mean, that's perfect. Just to add on to your point, a lot of our community is watching this. I mean, you mentioned Microsoft, Amazon too is looking at us very significantly. A lot of our community too, companies like Anaconda, Continuum, a lot of different places are looking at, okay, well, what are these guys doing, and how can we grow this to be much wider scale? And so to Nick's point, this is about you guys, and whatever you kind of want to get out of this, whether it's through training, whether it's through what you're actually going to be competing with, or the data you're using, voice that to us, and we'll do our best to make sure that you're kind of getting at the most value out of this. So I already kind of mentioned who our main kind of sponsors are. A lot of the technology that will be available to you out of the box with Qubole is Spark, Hive, Presto, Hadoop. However, you are able to connect through APIs through our studio. You're able to connect through our ODBC, through Tableau, Looker, any other visualization tools that you want to use. You've got Zeppelin out of the box, so you can do all sorts of things with PySpark, Spark SQL, AngularJS. So we've got a whole array of, this is a canvas, and this is where you can paint your picture. And I don't know who said it, but data is up to how you interpret it, and it's your story to tell. This is very open-ended, our competition in length officially starts next week, and we'll do kind of an intensive training and briefing on the technology, so we can walk you through how to set up, how to create a cluster, and various things like that. And then from there, it's just kind of working together and making sure that everyone is kind of on the same page. So we'll have a very much a no man left behind. So there'll be teams that will be accelerating above others, and teams that maybe a little bit newer to the game here. So we want to make sure that everyone is able to work together in this room collaboratively, but still have your core teams where you're working on your core problem. Our judging criteria is based on evaluation of everything from collaboration, your objectives, and how you're looking at accomplishing your problem, all the way up to what are the models you're using, what kind of data are you, what are your outcomes, and ultimately what is the presentation, and where are your next steps out of this. So what is this competition? As I mentioned, the underlying theme is kind of how you improve the college selection process. So there's tons of data behind this, from graduation rates, availability of sentiment behind students, demographic ranges. And so there's a whole plethora that you guys can go from here. We aren't fixing it to the Obama College Scorecard, but we thought this would be kind of a good place to look at, okay, what are kind of some quantitative rubrics as far as how the government is looking at what is defined as kind of the best way to select a school, or the best available options that you have for a school. So we want to kind of give you this as some directive and some ways to kind of get your cylinders firing. But furthermore, there's ways that you could maybe pull in Twitter feeds and do sentiment analysis and all sorts of other creative angles that we would love to see out of this competition. We encourage teams to be led by data scientists. However, if you aren't a data scientist, you guys have a core data engineering team, and you guys are all about a specific type of analytics problem, It doesn't have to be specifically machine learning, but just given kind of the format of the competition, we encourage everyone to kind of have a team lead in that facet, and then from there, maybe a team secondary, and then about, I think, 6 people at minimum to a team. And then from there, we have a cap of about 150 teams in total that can participate in this competition.
Yeah, 150 teams, that means that we can scale pretty large, but so introduce people. We would like to see a noob at least on the team, but that's okay. And if for some reason your team doesn't have a data scientist or other core member that you'd like, let us know so we can help kind of build that team as well.
And we'll break this up into kind of a 3-phase part of the competition. And this kind of goes with our no man left behind mentality, where the first part is just data preparation. After you guys will break off into teams and come up with your problem, we'll work together to help you prepare that data. You may not be very well versed with certain data cleansing methodologies or various ETL methodologies, so we'll help you get to that level. And then the second phase is going to be doing a bit more granular analytics, preparing your data for doing a lot more advanced machine learning and a lot more advanced modeling and classifications. And then ultimately, we'll spend about 2 weeks going through presentations, and we can cover those specifics a bit more. And that phase will be done virtually, so your teams will present and everyone can watch together. And the final announcement will be made internally within the group, and then at the Intermountain Big Data Conference, and that's where we will present the grand prizes and the grand winners there.
Which again is November 19th. So the weekend before Thanksgiving, and there will be a U game, so parking will be terrible.
So why education? This is a very big problem that's been coming up in the 2016 election. It's something that we are seeing across the board as far as, why is our economy having struggles? Why are, certain people not able to afford certain opportunities? So, looking at a way that we can help improve this for students, because, ultimately, what's the main way that you look like you're going to college? You heard from your parents, you heard from your friends, or you had that community around you that was like, we're going to apply to these schools, and you knew of your top first-tier schools that you wanted to go to. But you didn't have that granular look as to, okay, well, what school may have the best, availability as far as my loans for me financially? What school may have the best opportunity for me as my lifestyle, for my sports, any of that? So this helps kind of look at that data and maybe find some interesting facts out of that.
By the year 2025, and I've said this before here in this group, but floats around a lot, there will be a new form of illiteracy, and that's the lack of ability to code. So just understanding which schools understand that and understand how technology is different today than it was 5 years ago and will be in 10 years is enough to change your child's career or your kids' friends' careers, and the ability to compete on a global level.
And we want to get national recognition out of this.
So that's good.
And also there's a lot of objective and subjective data. So, we expect you guys to do various types of quantitative and qualitative analysis and come up with a lot of different outcomes out of this. So I was gonna have a cool little thing where Hillary was gonna pop up and Trump was gonna pop up and kind of slap box, but I didn't have enough time on my flight. But a little joke on our whole situation right now.
No gifts.
No gifts, unfortunately. As I mentioned, the technology that's kind of provided at its core is Qubole and AWS, but you guys can bring your own personal, packages, libraries, visualization tools that you want to use on top of this. This is just the raw compute and the raw storage. So this is kind of the world that you have, and then everything else you can build around. Again, we're providing access to this technology. During this period of time, we'll be covering the data inside of Amazon S3. One critical thing that you want to do as a team is come up with the data sets that you want to use. However, if you do find that down the line you guys need to use another data set, voice it to us and we'll figure out a way to incorporate that. And then we'll also work to maybe enable everyone to kind of have access to other data sets that will be in S3 just to utilize the most of our resources. And then also you have access to all of our communities. Think Big, Utah Geek events, Qubole. We offer a lot of training too and education. So again, if there's specific things you guys want to deep dive into, voice it to us and we'll make sure that your voice is heard. So this is essentially the architecture of what Qubole is. The Amazon S3 and EC2 all sit outside of our environment, and we are basically a orchestration layer. So our auto scaling and our automation technology help enable you to provision clusters in Amazon and not have to manage the underlying infrastructure there. So, very self-service, and you guys are just, able to focus on getting answers to the data and not having to configure and manage your clusters. And then furthermore, it's very configurable. So we've got ODBC connectors, different types of SDKs, Python SDK, R. You can query through our UI, you can call our API. So, this is very out of the box and very open.
Somebody here should be able to make them regret making it open, right?
My company. I'm paying for it. But yeah, do you guys have any questions here too? It's kind of a lot of information packed into one slide. If not, we'll cover a lot more of this over the demo and training next week. We'll deep dive into that. So teams must have at least 4 members, and we suggest at cap 10, but 4 to 10 of you, encourage a couple newbies in there, and again, have a team lead with someone who's kind of an expert in the space and can help kind of guide your team. And then as part of phase 1, again, your team has to kind of submit the core problem and some of the data sets that you want to use, because ultimately we're going to have to put that data into S3 and we'll have to make it stand up for you.
It's also part of scoring and everything else, because a big part of the data science is understanding how to obtain your data, why you chose certain data sets, why you're ingesting them, and everything else, right? So, so you will get points for that stage. So even if somebody else ended up using a data set that you provided, you'll still be accredited for putting that out. Hopefully got a big race. I probably shouldn't say that.
So I've got a question on teams that'll bring up a few things too. Can the teams have members all from the same company or something like that? Doesn't matter.
So in the past, we've said no.
Right. And that's why I'm bringing it
we
up.
want that.
Diversity.
Yeah, the diversity, the collaboration, working across multiple groups, getting to know people that you don't necessarily work with all the time. What do you guys think? Maybe it's a no company can have one team without involving somebody else.
It should be what?
It should be the way, let people from same company participate as a team.
They should be allowed to or should not be allowed to?
Should be allowed.
Should be allowed to, okay? I would say maybe not the entire team made up from one company would be probably a good idea, because again, one of the goals of all of these competitions is networking. If you do this project with the guys that you work with or girls that you work with at the office all the time, you haven't networked with anybody. So there is a goal obviously there to try to communicate with other groups as well. It does make it, and it's hard to say, but you may have a competitive advantage because you work together all the time. If you've been building data warehousing solutions or machine learning projects for the last 3 or 4 years together, you're going to click very quickly. And one of the fun things about this is getting yourself out of that comfort zone to try to do that differently.
Plus, if you do poorly, you can shift the blame to the person.
To the person outside the company. Exactly. Thank you, Bart, for that excellent idea. You've been members of other teams before, haven't you? No.
If you want to go to team with just your company, let us know.
Yes.
We have a lot of university students here and others that won't have access to a team, won't know people in the community. They're probably people you want to hire anyway. And so contact us about that so that we can at least try to get a university student on the team. You'll be surprised at how good some of them do.
Yeah, that's another thing I was going to bring up. Don't be afraid of an intern type person or someone new. They have fresh ideas that a lot of us don't think about every day. If you've spent many years in this field or doing these things, a fresh idea from someone that's just getting into it may be the answer you need. So
let's face it, they're millennials. They have no idea how to think.
Just a comment to make. I participated in one of the competitions that had a lot of fun. And one of our goals was to be inclusive. I remember when I first tried to get on a team, it was like, oh, that team's kind of closed. Oh, they don't really want me. Oh, whatever. So we just kind of formed our own team. And then we ended up with a team that had 10 people on it that none of us had ever met before.
They won.
yeah, and they won.
But it was a lot of fun to get to know them. So if you have people that come up to you and want to be part of your team, just be inclusive. Don't be so focused on, hey, I just got to have this specific type of people, because they'll bring talents that you're not aware of.
Yeah, and on the team, do not be afraid that all I have is the best and the brightest data scientists, engineers, 10 of them together. The greatest minds in a room together are not necessarily the greatest thing. Yeah. Bring someone in that's both creative and bring someone in that's project management skills, things like that. There's a lot to it. So do not be afraid of bringing somebody in that's maybe not nearly as technical as before. That's not a hindrance. That's a good thing. Putting too many smart minds in one room is not always the best idea. So that's another thing I would suggest for the teams. Okay, anything else? Yeah, I just wanted to throw out a few things there on it. Okay.
Rules are fairly open. Your code can't be proprietary. I can't get in trouble for it, so I still want my job. I like my job. Data must be open, so nothing illegal, please. Nothing closed. Don't steal a data set from your office. It's all public data and all data that's open to the public.
Try to watch here, because it can be really tricky, especially if you're scraping a lot of different data sets. A lot of them are labeled not for public use, and we just miss it. We just don't always pay attention. Mm-hmm. We are going to go through the approval process just to make sure we're comfortable and okay. We do have to remember that this is education oriented. So you may find data sets on kids or on things like that, and all of that. We need to make sure that it's clean and scrubbed, is anonymous, and everything else is safe.
Or if you're pulling like Twitter data, that you're not pointing it to the user or a specific person. So
just a thing to avoid. There's this show called Silicon Valley, and at one point somebody proposes the idea of this really cool app that could watch where kids were on playgrounds and whatever else, right? And make that public. Let's avoid that.
Yes, please. The data must it doesn't have to be specifically on the criteria of improving or on the college, Obama College Scorecard. So it doesn't have to specifically be based on that, but it has to be data relevant to the colleges, has to be relevant to how you could select a college, to run some results. Teams must present their outcomes in the process. So, think about as you're going along, hey, well, why did we do this job? Everything from, why did we clean the data this way? Why did we prepare it this way? Why did we use this engine? These things are going to be great for your presentation down the line. So, think about your process and think about, how you go about solving it. And then again, the results are going to be announced at the Intermountain Data Conference, as well as we'll fire out a couple press releases, and everyone's going to be shooting out blogs. So there's going to be a lot of other exposure.
We may have judges from like Ant Labs or other places that aren't here, or in Colorado, where we'll run a lot of this stuff in Canada. So a lot of those presentations will be done online. So kind of keep that in mind for the time now.
And our plan too is to record all of this information too, so if you ever want to come back to it, we'll have, you know, all of this public on the website, and you guys can come back and access and watch certain videos. Sorry about that.
So, you brought up a great one in there. All these sections and stuff need to be documented, shown, presented. So it talks about why you chose this, why you didn't. Again, another great place to have a team member that likes to do documentation. Not too many engineers like to do documentation out there. Not too many data scientists may or may not do that. So keep that in mind, again, when you are picking and choosing teams. Having someone that likes to do that side of that presentation side can win or lose because of your presentation and those things. If you can't convince someone that this is the right course, then they're not going to, judge it correctly, or they're going to not buy your product in the future, that sort of thing. That's why it's so important. So keep that in mind when you're picking your team.
Yeah, bringing somebody in like that may help them see a whole new career.
Yeah.
Something that they never thought they could do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we kind of had a big philosophical debate about whether this competition should be specifically, we give you the machine learning problem and you just go at it like that, you launch as many models as you can. But that leaves out the whole collaboration part. That leaves out everything else from, how you look at an objective. So, think about that as you're building your teams. Scoring. So as I mentioned, there's kind of 3 stages that we're looking at the competition at. Identification, approach, building your team in collaboration. That's a big part of the first stage. We're putting a bit of extra weight on there because we really want you guys to work together. And from there, stage 2 is a fairly shorter one. It's doing some ingestion, wrangling your code, cleaning the data, and then, starting to derive some meaningful results out of it. And then stage 3 is getting really advanced into it. So, we'll focus kind of our trainings during these time periods around this. So by the time we're reaching stage 3, we're focusing a lot more on machine learning and talking about things along that nature. In the earlier stages, we'll be talking a bit more about, cloud and big data technologies and other, data science technologies. And then ultimately, there's no one winner. There will be a best. But everyone has the opportunity to reach a different level of tier. And as you reach those tiers, you'll unlock more access to different prizes. Also, if your company wants to sponsor any prizes, please reach out to Nick. Because we are definitely looking for more of those.
Or we get the better. There'll be a wide variety, including like the introductions, cash card.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there'll be the generic stuff, but if you guys want to get some extra exposure in here and throw you guys up, through your company up here as a sponsor, it's a good way to get some extra exposure.
And start thinking about that for your teams as well. Again, what would you want? What's going to be beneficial to your career? Maybe you come out of this and there's something that's patentable. Maybe you come out of it and it's something that should be purchased or could help a company, or that you could turn into your own company, right? All of those are possibilities. We need to be involved helping you make sure that that can actually be possible.
And a lot of companies are hiring data scientists, so we'll make it our objective, if you guys need introductions as well, to help you get that. It's kind of our timeline and milestones that we're looking at. So August 17th is our official kickoff, and that will be where we do our training, go through the product demo. Think Big will help do a bit more of a deep dive on there. And then during this period of time, starting today, we're hoping you guys will break off into teams and start thinking about what problems and what data sets you want to come at objectively. And by the end of the month, we expect that you guys turn in your data sets and turn in the problems that you want to work on. And by September 1st, we'll be essentially doing our full spread kickoff, and the competition is just ready, set, go from there. From there, we have a couple other events that will be strewed in here. but just for kind of the core intensive purposes. This is pretty much up to September, middle of September. That's essentially phase 2. The hackathon is kind of the fold over point. We're going to be focusing a lot more on the machine learning and a bit more on advanced analysis. So we'll spend a Saturday together. The event location is to be decided right now, but you know, everyone will be able to work together, collaborate, eat a lot of pizza, and just have fun.
From past competitions, we try to avoid things.
Maybe not pizza. And then, yeah, the ultimate final part is, you know, you come out, you guys basically give us your presentation drafts. We look through and, you know, make sure that everything's kosher. We'll maybe give you a couple pointers, and then we'll have you kind of turn in over the middle of October your final presentations, just so, you know, we have that benchmark, and no one is quickly making edits during the presentations of everyone else. And then on the last week of October, we will host the presentation amongst all the teams. And I think that may be done in person / virtually. So we'll host a kind of web conference that everyone can call on. And then, yeah, the final announcements and prizes. So next steps. We really encourage you guys to come to this meetup next week. It's going to be, you know, very insightful. If you can't make it, it will be recorded. And in the meantime as well, please sign up for the competition. This is where you guys will be able to get access to Qubole. This is where you'll be able to get access to the Slack channel. Our Slack channel will be dedicated to a couple of my support members. So they'll be able to kind of help you guys out with any problems or technical questions you have. And then, you know, we'll use this as kind of a place where we can send out newsletters and different upcoming training events or other, you know, insightful videos and such like that. And start working on creating your team. You know, reach out to your colleagues, reach out to your friends, and you know, basically work on forming it. You can also, in the meantime, if you'd like to just play around with Qubole and just get a kind of idea of it, just go to Qubole.com. We've got a free 2-week trial and a sandbox that you can play around with on there. And yeah, any questions?
Okay. So let me kind of frame this question and answer period in a couple of things, because I'd like to be able to have everybody do introductions and talk about who they are and start thinking about making teams and everything, right? But let's see if we have any quick questions before that we can provide some answers to. And then we'll go through, do some introductions, and then we'll do more Q&A.
Have we set up will we have a communication channel of some sort set up so people are saying, hey, I'm looking for a visualization person, or I'm looking for whatever, that they can just post them out there and people can respond?
Yep. So it mentions that there will be a Slack channel on there, and we'll split it up in the general.
We'll set up kind of an internal Slack channel, I think, so that we can have one separate from, one will be focused on technology, and that would be the one that comes from us. And then maybe you want to set up kind of like an open forum.
Yeah, so we can either do that, or we can set up other types of forums. Do people have preferences as far as Slack or other things? I don't want to use Google Forums. We've been doing those for years and rather just avoid it.
We have the Utah Geek Event Slack, so we can leverage that one and use a channel inside there. Yeah, it's set up. It's waiting for some things to be put in, but we can get that in the next week.
Okay.
And then what we'll do is we'll open that to the group. That's open to pretty much everybody as well because it's Utah Geek Events. But we can put dedicated channels in there for the actual competition where you can announce, I'm looking for this, or I'm looking for that, and those sort of things.
And that way we can also have, if you'll set it up this way, so that we can have everybody create your own team as a
private channel. Yeah, you can create your own private channel for your team, and then that team can collaborate all they want right there in Slack. So we'll get that set up before the 17th, and we'll just give you the link. Kind of, you do have to sign up, of course, in Slack, but like I said, everybody should be able to get in. Since it's through Geek Events, it's open to everybody.
How will manage a source code, like everybody collaborating, right?
Sorry, what was that?
Source code, like how will manage the repositories and all those things between these teams?
So we will essentially have each account created for each team, and those accounts will all point to the same S3 and the same EC2 instances. So everyone will be able to see all of the same data, but as far as your code, you can do that through GitHub. You can just, it'll only be visible in your account, so only your team will see that.
The end result is that your code is publishable. So if you do it in Git or something, you can leave it private during the competition, if you do not want to show to other teams, that sort of thing. But in other words, at some point, the code is then turned over to the judges, and then when we end and we show the results, it says, here's the code to the results. So the end goal is publishable, but during the competition, you can keep it however you so choose. Does that make sense? That answers the question. Okay.
So on those lines, as far as the teams there, because it's tied to the 150 different accounts, if you set up a team tonight or in the next couple of days or whatever it may be, and then decide to combine with another team or to disband that team and do a different one, let us know so we can make sure that account is utilized as best as possible.
Yeah.
We're not saying you can't do that. That's how the people won the Netflix prize, was by combining, but make sure we know so that we can use those accounts.
Yeah.
Quick show of hands, by the way, who's done a competition kind of like this or some type of competition that's being managed?
Kaggle.
Or KD, ECAP, or whatever
It's about half of you here. So there's some experienced folks in the room. And, do you guys have any things that you kind of would like to focus on, or, any areas that you want to, like data or objectively, that you kind of like to add into this? Again, it's very open, so.
Just maybe a suggestion, and you probably thought about this, I noticed it talked about some sort of training that's coming along, but
Absolutely.
in the past, I know it's been really helpful when people that have had very little experience with machine learning and be able to say, oh, here's a sample data set, here's some sample code, here's some sample results, I can go through the whole thing, and then I can try to make it better. So something like that, I think would be really helpful for a lot of people.
Repeat that frontline.
So the question was, or I guess the comment was, one thing that's really helpful is to have kind of an example of what kind of some basic machine learning concepts are and techniques from the data set to doing the actual modeling. And I think that's one place that Think Big is going to help us out a lot in. My team, we do have a machine learning one-on-one education course that we do. So it will definitely help kind of put us in that direction. But we also have Think Big, who has brought and raised their hand if they want to help with the training as well. So they're going to be working very closely.
We'll talk with Marissa and overcommit her and her teams.
And she sits back there and grins at us.
So I'm going to put him on the spot, partially because he came in late, but also because he's been sending calendar invites to some old emails, so we haven't caught up in a while. But Dave, the CIO groups here with like the AIM, the data SIG, and everything else, how would all the CIOs in the state be interested in being involved or paying attention to what's going on with the competition?
You're gonna have to come out.
Competition.
High competition. So, the CIOs in the Valley, I run a special interest group inside a CIO group that is focused on how to make all this advanced analytics, big data, how to make it something that matters. And I still get, it was just last Friday, I got the question of, well, where do we get started? Because I tell them the things like, companies, Gartner's stat is, you'll do 20% better as a company if you're using data analytics compared to the others. Then I give them my own, where I've seen between the top end now is $1.3 billion that are identified as real actionable revenue for companies, down to 50% improvements on whatever it is. So what they want from this is to figure out how to connect with all of you that are building your skills. The CIOs in the Valley still don't know where to start. They still don't know the true value of it. You know, I've told Nick this one a million times, so I apologize, it's redundant, but I keep telling them, look, you're either using advanced analytics now to improve your customers' experiences, do better in your business process, or you'll be using it in a couple of years to figure out where all your customers went. Period. This is the new paradigm that's out there. So they don't know where to find you. They don't know what your skill sets are. So my job in all this is to connect them with you, to be able to, in particular, I don't know if it'll work in this competition, but I'd love to be able to help out in helping you shape your message so that when you go to a company and say, take this something that's really interesting to you, transform it into something that's value for them. There's this really, really thin line in data analytics where there's all the interesting stuff that no company cares about, but is really interesting to the person working on it. And then on the other side is the things that they don't even know about their data. Just today we found about $300,000 in fraud for a company that their net revenue for the year is a couple $1 million. So I mean, these are the opportunities that as you take what you're doing in a competition and transform it into something that a company can look at and say, oh, he could make a lot of money, he could save us in this way, this way, this way. That's what I would like to be able to contribute to build those connections and help the people that if you have data analytics skills and I apologize if this offends anybody, if you're that PhD making $16 an hour, and I know too many of you, there's ways to transform what you've learned into things that companies are willing to pay quite a bit for because they have so many unanswered questions. They don't know what they don't know, but they know something's out there. You know, they've been relying on intuition and luck and about this much data. And then they see once they rely on a whole bunch of data, all of a sudden their business changes. These are real opportunities. These aren't, it's not theoretical anymore. So I'm here to help the CIOs get the skills they need, help you guys take what you know and can do and translate it so that it makes sense to them. They don't speak data. There are no CEO out there that I know of is a data junkie. You all are data junkies. It's great. This is like Data Junkies Anonymous. We want to make it data junkies. We want to make it data junkies in the front line. So that's why I'm here. That's why I get involved in this. And that's why I've tried to show up after being absent all summer with 3 different contracts. But this is real. This is the type of thing that you can take and transform into something that I know you talked about some of the past stuff where the governor's office is like, you guys are doing great work. And companies are looking at it and saying, I wish I could hire you. So it's real. And I'm here to help bridge any gaps I can.
So speaking of Data Junkies Anonymous, all right, time for introductions. So again, if you could just kind of briefly talk about who you are, the type of things that you like to do, or why this would be particularly interesting to you. We'd like to be able to build teams here tonight and start to get people to work together. It's very difficult to build a team not knowing who somebody is and why they care. And also on a competition like this, if your intent is to earn cash at the end, that's going to be very different than a team that wants to build a company or a team that wants to get introductions or wants to get cool prizes like Skull Candy headsets or whatever else the case would be. So I'm not saying you have to say, hey, I'm looking for money, but hopefully you all are to some extent. But if you guys all want to go through and I don't know which direction we'll go, Christopher.
Yeah, sure.
So, go ahead.
Hey, so my name is Christopher Rogers. I'm an aspiring data scientist at Adobe. I'm also a co-organizer at the Utah County Machine Learning Meetup. And I was just going to say, if you're looking for some machine learning tutorials, that's really where we're focused in this meetup. Our format is typically we'll present a machine learning or data science concept during one meetup a month. And then on the second meetup, we'll try to apply that to a data set. The nice thing is that we do have a Slack channel where we've posted links to all of our previous sort of lectures and data sets. So I can't remember his name, but to your point back there, if you are looking for some training, we do have some data sets and information that you can go and find. And the easiest way is just to go to the Meetup, search for Utah County Machine Learning. There's a way that you can, you can join, you can get access to our Slack and start both participating and contributing. We'd love to have you down there. We usually meet at the point of the mountain, so it's pretty convenient for either valley. And yeah.
Yeah. Slack channel today had a unicorn, and then it had some sort of exotic electricity, and then it ended up at some sort of emperor. So anyway, it's fun.
Okay. Hi, my name is Jorge Encinas. I am a database guy. I actually have been working last 2 years doing ETL and working with some technology with a customer in California, actually, Lucio, California. So I was part of this team for a company called MBI that have a solution for ETL and all these fun stuff, CDC drivers and all kind of things to make an ETL solution for them, because they have so many sources of data and so complicated to put it together. But I love this idea of big data. Actually, the database we're using there is Netisa, which is a big data database. And what's really interesting stuff for me. But also, I'm looking into getting to the big data, and I have a lot of experience with databases, Oracle, whatever, all brands of databases, and I'm ready to form teams and ready to know more people here. Yep.
I'm Craig Brown. I'm a search engine expert, so not a SEO. I'm not going to do your web pages. And application development on top of like Elasticsearch and things like that.
Hi, my name is Dylan Zwick, and I'm the Director of Data Science at Overstock.com. And I'm here because I'm very familiar with the tools that we use at Overstock and the insights we have there. But I'm hoping to learn a lot more about tools that we're not using and get some experience outside of just online retail data, because I'm a bit sick of that. And so I'd like to meet some of the other big data people and data science people in Utah and get to know a few of you guys. So looking forward to it.
My name is Ram. I'm a data engineer at Quantitative. It's a call center that focuses on Medicare. We have like up to 1,500 agents on the system. We have a lot of audio and all that. My job right now is to make all the transcribed data and all the data to the data analyst. So I have been more of the engineer, not of the data scientist. I'm also a full-time grad student up at the U. I have taken data mining and learning all that, still on my homework, but I have never done field or project in data science. So I'm gonna get my gap, basically. So I'll be good at engineering data, AWS, all that. That's data too. I want to be in the team.
I'm Kenneth Adair. I actually just recently graduated from Weber State University with my degree in computer science. And I'm hoping to start a master's degree in machine learning in January. So I'm applying within the next few days. I'll find out if all my hopes and dreams get crushed or if that goes through. Right now, I'm just a computer scientist at Hill Air Force Base, not really doing much with data. I do simulation software with mid-2004-ish graphics, which is great. I love it. Yeah, otherwise, I'm legitimately here because it seems really interesting. So I'm hoping to, I guess, experience the joy of machine learning and data science.
My name is John Fackrell. I'm a data analyst. I worked a lot with and a lot of financial engineering. I created a lot of credit scoring models, even with schools and things like that before, pricing models. I have a passion for data science and I work for data science.
My name is Bob Davis. I work over at IM Flash, and I've been doing lots of work with data for the past 9 years there, and love playing with data, building models, and we've been using it to basically build the next generation of memory. I'm actually looking at transitioning and doing full-time consulting work with Alton in data science and helping some of those awesome companies be able to realize the value that is there from data. For this competition, I'm really excited about the possibility of helping the next generation be able to achieve their dreams and really find the college and the career that best fits their needs. I think in the next, 10 years or so, we're going to see a huge shift in our economy as we take more advantage of machine learning and artificial intelligence, and the job landscape is going to change drastically. Right now, I think the underemployment rate is around 10%, and so that'll probably increase pretty remarkably as more jobs are replaced through artificial intelligence and machine learning. And so it'd be great to help future generations be able to identify the skills that they need to be successful in the long run.
My name is Min, and I just graduated from Leonardos University with a master's degree in statistics, and I'm into data, into Utah, and I'm here to meet new people and learn more data science skills.
I'm Doug Thorpe. I work at the University of Utah on a couple of different research contracts funded by the National Cancer Institute, the National Institutes of Health. And basically, I'm doing the analytics on these two projects where we're trying to look for temporal and spatial, not clusters per se, but explanations. So we're trying to extend the analysis across time, both time series and spatial pattern recognition stuff. So,
And I've done a couple of these comps before. It's been fun.
My name is Ben Tesh. I'm doing analyst work for a national trucking company that's based out of Salt Lake. Definitely new when it comes to data science stuff, although Brad, you were indicating, but I really am excited to jump into this and make a shot and kind of see the project start from beginning to end.
I'm Qubole. I'm a data scientist at a data science consulting firm. Very small. It's called Meetup. And my background is in astronomy and physics. I have a PhD in astrophysics, and I'm interested and do a lot of in my work statistical modeling and machine learning. And I consider myself mainly an R developer in my skills. I'm an open source package developer for R, and I really love doing all that type of work. And as far as the competition, I'm really interested in networking here locally. I actually work remotely. The consulting firm I work for is elsewhere, so I'm really excited to meet people who are in this space who are local.
Hi, my name is Martin Murray. I just moved up here on Friday from Southern California, and I saw this meetup on data. Always been a bit of a data junkie, so I couldn't get myself signed up fast enough. I've got a bachelor's degree in accounting, a master's in IT, and I've been a project manager for about the past 20 years.
My name is Sohan Mishra, and I am a master's student. Graduated this summer from the EU, and my degree is in computer science, specializing in data science. So the point of me participating in this foundation is after graduating, when you look for jobs in this field, most of the companies look for experience, and which I don't have. I just have the knowledge of book. I just code, and so to gain experience and know what everyone around the valley is doing, I'm here for that.
Hi, my name is Vishanu. I work for Tucson Health Science. So my current position is data warehouse and business intelligence architect. But last for a couple of years, I'm mostly into the data science, and currently also I'm trying to pursue more data science in my company. The same thing, I'm trying to convince my CIO we need to do more data science. And currently I'm doing it on the predictive analytics model. And also, I'm doing a certification from Stanford Online, and I'm in this competition for networking and development skill set.
Hi, I'm Jacob Hummel. I just got done with being one of those 16-hour PhDs. I'm a newly minted astronomy PhD from the University of Texas. Moved out here about a month ago, looking to get plugged into the data scene, the tech scene here in Utah, and meet people and work on something other than academic stuff. So my background is in computational HPC stuff, dealing with very large data sets and doing cosmological simulations, things like that. So.
And I actually met Jacob too at an Austin Big Data event a couple months ago. So very small world.
I'm Mark Paulson. I am a psychology professor at Utah Valley University, where I actually teach statistics. And it's through them that I'm organizing these 2 data science charrettes, we're calling them the hackathons, in December and in the spring. I also do online training in data science topics for lynda.com, and I have my own business, datalab.cc, which is perpetually almost going to launch. And I'm giving a hell of a lot of money to people right now. We have to get to the revenue generation very quickly. And I'm kind of a cheerleader, and I spend a lot of time explaining to people why this stuff matters and a lot of the very basic principles of data science. And I should mention, I have been working in higher education for over 20 years. I've taught at about 7 different schools. I actually know something about how people select.
My name is Shashi. I'm a software engineer with Intermountain Healthcare, doing like mainly web side of things, so probably help with Angular stuff, or lately big data is catching up, so do something over there.
My name is Vishal. I'm working with the Intermountain, and I'm mostly Angular, I'm with the software development. I'm very good to data science. This is my mostly learning about data science.
Alright, my name is May Tulaka. I am a physical industrial engineer in Flux Technologies. I use SQL and or every day a lot of data analysis. And I guess I'm good at making a matrix that matches the right concepts. So basically feature engineering is probably my strength. I'm interested in working with the people with different skills in learning stuff.
Hi, my name is Shintaro Sasaki. I am a SQL Server DBA, and I'm new to this whole thing, and I'm trying to learn so I can stay useful in this industry. I'm converted from C# developer, and I used to deal with cleaning the data that application make mess on. So this I'm good at manipulating, finding data and cleaning them up. But on the SQL software.
Starting learning from us, suddenly starting.
Hi, my name is Cyril Thomas. I'm traditionally a Java guy, working on relational databases. They were doing big data stuff. My friend here, Matt, he's been coming to these meetups and he's been talking so many good things about this place. I'm like, I gotta drink the Kool-Aid too. So that's right. So what I'm looking for in this this competition is to learn a little bit of everything. Just get my feet wet and then probably use it in the future.
I'm Matt Wilson, a developer as well for 20 years, and recently discovered the world of data just through a business intelligence initiative work, and just really excited. I like Cyril and SQL databases, but real data analysis and machine learning is pretty new to me. Really excited just to get my feet wet. Really good with servers and automation.
Hi, my name is Ed Lane, and I'm a computer scientist. I've been an old computer scientist, I guess about 35 years worth. And I call myself a lifelong learner. Worked in product teams and in research. I think I've had my most fun when I've had to actually hire these PhDs that you're talking about. We touch in up against big data and decision support systems, and usually that's where I bring in an expert. But so it's fun to hang out with those guys and team up. So anyway, this is my chance since I don't get to do my day job much anymore. But I've been working in the cloud for the last 5 years, so I know a lot about that.
Hi, I'm Renee Bennett, and I am involved with EvolveU, and I'm new to Utah. I'm just here less about a year or two, and I'm kind of a research junkie. I love research, and machine learning is kind of a hobby, so it's really fun to meet all of you.
I'm Stu Clark. I'm his dad. I'm currently retired, and in the past I've been involved in numbers. I started up a few software companies, and the software architect was created software companies. And so I'm mostly here just to get to know people and
Colin Burton, recently graduated with an MBA, and last summer I built a product recommender engine in R for a commodity plastics company. It was the first time they'd seen anything data science related, so I got to introduce them with all that stuff. It was really fun. Currently working at Symantec. They make the Norton product, antivirus. I work with them down in Linden, and kind of want to learn more data science, get into some more real-world stuff like I did last summer.
Hi, I'm Amy Heinrich. I'm a data scientist at Teradata. I work out of the Big Data office. And I'm interested in this competition because I like the idea of a social project. I spend a lot of time in my job consulting for different companies, and it's a lot about making money. So I like the idea of education and the problems around it.
My name is Matt Deaver. My background is in data engineering. I was working with General Motors until last Friday doing data integration in their data warehouse. So my skills lie mostly in data engineering. I'm here to learn more about data science, hopefully to transition into a role in data science.
I'm Danny Rich. I do some data science and speech analytics with Conversa. Kind of come from a software development background, and over the last few years, got into machine learning, kind of is a bit of a transition. Mostly just interested in the competition to meet people, learn new things. Seems kind of fun.
My name is Joe Kaiser. I have a bachelor's degree in philosophy and a master's degree in mathematics, and I sucked at mathematics, so I ended up in IT. I'm an infrastructure guy. I've been doing this for about 17 years, building big clusters. I started out at Fermilab, building HPC clusters. Did medical transcription for a family business, and right now I work for a small infrastructure company. And infrastructure to us means bare metal, but we also do VMs, Amazon, you name it. If it exists, I can install it. I've seen the full gamut of applications and probably installed it, and probably am optimized, especially in the Hadoop and the cloud arenas. What I'm hoping to get out is I just want to be useful to somebody doing something. The philosophy degree means that I write really awesome documentation. And the HPC experience means that when your users go crazy, I know how to calmly bring them back to earth. So I'm happy to look to talk to people too as well. So if I'm useful, I think I'm going to be useful.
Good evening. My name is Alex Graves, and I'm one of those damn millennials.
So sorry.
Where's your Starbucks?
Yeah, it's a little late for that. I was an analyst in the military for a while, and then most recently here, I was a data scientist for Zions Bank. We did like fraud detection for them and operations modeling. And then recently, I just switched to doing consulting work, and I work for a small startup now that helps people with their AWS infrastructure. So, yeah, I didn't realize tonight was going to be the big competition reveal. I just came to rub elbows with other people who love data. So, sweet. If you want to know more about it, come find me.
I'm Pierre Kirby. I work for Honeywell International. My background is in computer science and an MBA in technology management. I travel weekly globally. I may be in Hong Kong, New York, Chicago, LA. And we're seeing at Honeywell, we're doing connected homes, connected business, connected workers. So we want to see all that stuff tied together. And our customers are asking for, this insight, this visualization, and more automation because they're connecting everything, billions of systems and sensors. So we're trying to do a better job at that by owning the machine learning. So we're spending billions of dollars on acquiring companies or changing our business. And in the future, we'll be completely data driven. So.
I'm Robert Stewart. I do DevOps and consulting. So I've been tinkering with analytics and I should say like small data and kind of medium data where it's like gotten too big for the database, but not big enough for a huge industrial size solution for the last 10, 15 years. So I'm hoping to be able to use some of the cool technology that I've been kind of eyeing that I've never had a reason to use for the last little while and network a little bit.
I'm Brad Stone. I am an IT director at BYU. And kind of my passion is using technology to make people happy. And so one of the best ways of doing that is when people have a problem is getting teams assembled together that can help tackle that. And that deals with all kinds of different technology. Machine learning, data science is really awesome. There's a lot of other really awesome things that I also can participate in so I can find the right pieces to put together for a team. I participated in a competition 2 years ago where my goal was to figure out, well, how do you put together a big data team, right, or a data science team? What are the components you need? And it was really helpful to go through and see how that worked together. So I'm excited to see how this will all work with the teams here tonight. We've got a lot of talent in the room, and it'll be fun to see who pairs up with who and how the teams can form together. So that's my background.
My name is Christopher Thomas. I work for a company here in town called ETC Group. We're an energy engineering firm. We actually integrate to Honeywell systems, among others, trying to bring all of the data from thousands of sensors in the building together and then apply analytics to it to find places where energy is being wasted and can be fixed. Before that, I got a master's degree in information systems. Before that, I worked in the nonprofit space here for a local nonprofit called Heal Utah for 8 years. And then before that, I have a bachelor's in English and biology. And I think what I really like about data science is bringing creative approaches to solve important problems. I love the focus on social problems, so I'm looking to do that. I also love making presentations. I love communicating the value of predictive models. And then I'd love to gain some more exposure to big data platforms because I understand it in concept, but I've never used Hadoop or a lot of the other common platforms that people are using these days. So I'd love to get some exposure to that. So thanks.
Hey, I'm Nandya, and I'm a software developer at Goldman Sachs. So I'm a total newbie to data science, and I'm just here to meet new people, learn a bit about data science, and learn a bit of everything.
Hello, my name is Vignesh. I told you Goldman Sachs. My background is mostly programming Java stack for the past 8 years. So I have taken a lot of courses online with the data science and other courses. I've never got any practical exposure to this for the opportunity to do something practical with this data knowledge.
Okay, so my name is Josh Simon. I'm an IT administrator. I work with SharePoint all the time. I like big data. I've done some stuff in ARM, just I first want to thank y'all for putting this on. This is really awesome. Thank you for this opportunity. I teach high school math at Brighton High School, and I'm getting my master's in mathematics as well right now. And I have a little one on the way. In the next couple weeks, I'm going to have a son, and that's kind of getting me thinking about what I really want to do. And so this is kind of an opportunity to see if I really would like data science as much as I'm pretty sure I would. And so I'm a noob, definitely a noob, and I have a fair background in R, and what I would like to get out of this is some networking, and also just for myself to see if I do love it, because I do it on my own, but I don't know what I'm doing, so. And then there was one more thing.
What's your name?
My name, Justin Boyer, yeah. It's nervous in front of all the kids, like those kids. And on a side note, that's kind of funny, Dylan Zwick taught my Calc 3 class. That's where I know you.
My name is Seth Simon, and I came just curious. I've looked up 4 terms in 30 minutes, and I now know what a CIO is.
I hope that's not the only term you really keep.
So I'm got a master's in applied microeconomics. So I did most of my programming in R. That was my first exposure to some formal language, but I definitely learned there's a whole world underneath that world. And this appears to be people that are in it. So very cool. I'm just curious. Interesting. Thanks.
My name is Marcus Schmidt. I'm currently a business analyst at an agricultural company here in Salt Lake. As a company, we're just now starting to get involved in analytics. I'm hoping to learn how the process works. I've got some exposure in the classroom to some machine learning, some data science, kind of more of a visualization guy, so if your team's looking for that, that's probably what will help out the most. That's kind of what
Let's see what it is tonight.
Code Blue, Heart and Lung, Level 1, Room 27. Code Blue, Heart and Lung, Level 1, Room 27. Code Blue, Heart and Lung, Level 1, Room 27.
I was always wondering when people ask us on the recordings later, what is that? Well, we work it off.
Hi, I've been here before. I'm Jeff Despain. I'm manager of analytics over at Dallas Web. Yes, it's insurance. Yes, it's boring, but it's a lot of data, and yes, it affects your life. And I've got an associate's in computer science, a BS in stats, and then an MBA, and then a PhD in hard knocks. I just want to try to learn a little bit more about machine learning and how to apply it in the business world.
Well, go ahead, let's not let you.
Yeah, Lisa Hatcher, I work at a security company. I'm a software engineer, mainly Java. I've tried my best to do self-learning, so I know a little bit of R, a little bit of Python, a little bit of this and that, and that's kind of where it is for me at my company. It's very small. You need to do whatever you do. I mean, I've done web development, so I've done presentation, I've done documentation, whatever needs to be done.
Code Blue, Heart and Lung, Level 1, Room 27. Code Blue, Heart and Lung, Level 1, Room 27.
Got a little bit of everything. Can you help out?
You missed the not that. I guess I spoke too quietly.
My name is Matt White. I've been doing a lot of kernel development for the last 20 years. A lot of extraction of data, speed scraping, transforming data that way. I have a bachelor's in English and communications, master's in business. I've done system automation, a lot of Linux orchestration the last 15 years plus, databases and so forth. I'm looking to learn a lot more about data science and using Python and R.
I'm Chris Bentley. I have a background in data economics, and I'm an aspiring data scientist. I recently completed a master's degree in information systems at the University of Utah. Some of my strengths are idea creation and engineering solutions. I look forward to working on a team.
I'm Jim Liu, really math and stats guy. But right now working as a software engineer doing applications between Oracle and Postgres databases. But I've worked with Spark and on the Cloud Air cluster. Scrape in like data.
Council, Code Blue, Heart Mode, Level 1.
Yay, we're actually having it.
That's
The order was too late. Come on, let's do positive. Positive here.
Yes, scrape the data basically on mostly on the web page, but increasing the speed of the Java processing. So I guess I'm looking at possibly somebody with experience in machine learning. I haven't done anything machine learning or predictive analytics, but engineering side I'm pretty good at that. Hopefully we can work something out.
Should I go?
Yeah. You can join the team.
I cannot join a team.
Why not?
Okay, so I'm Pat Wright. I am the president of Utah Geek Events. As the president, founder, and one of the board members, I am not eligible to join one of the teams. Neither is she and neither is he. What that means, though, what's good for that is that you can come and ask us all sorts of questions because we've been doing this for a long time. So my day job is Utah Geek Events. I spend a lot of time on that. My night job is working for Merit CX as the director of data management. That's what actually pays the bills, and I do a lot of work there as well. I've worked on Hive, Spark, HBase, a whole bunch of different technologies, a bunch of different data warehouses. You're welcome to come and ask me about any of the competitions or anything else, because, yeah, I've been doing it for a little while. So, but, yeah, I'm not eligible for a team. So.
Hi, I'm Marissa Saunders. I'm a data scientist at Think Big. I grew up, I guess, as a data scientist doing my PhD in biochemistry, doing simulations of proteins on big Cray machines, and then using R and Python to do the analytics and statistical modeling. Now at Think Big, I spend my life in Spark and Hive, and with their machine learning libraries there. And I'm really here because I'm a data junkie. I've done a lot of these competitions in the past, and they're really fun, so I had to come out and see what this is about.
I'm Scott Jacobs. I'm not here to join a team, but rather to brag about this event to every company that has a CIO. And CIO, I'm with a tech staffing company, but I'm a big voice and advocate for everybody in this room. And I'm here to tell you, and agree with the folks up there at front, there are a lot of companies out there that I talk to, executives, senior leadership in these organizations, that don't know what they don't know. So everybody in this room is very vital to continue to grow the data science and data analytics and big data usages. And these competitions are extremely important. I'm a big advocate for the group and everybody in here.
All right. I'm Carrie Dew. Most of you probably know me because I've been working with Pat and Nick for quite some time. So if you show up at Code Camp or Big Mountain Data or Intermountain Data, usually I'm running the registration desk or doing whatever is needed to be done. So I'm mostly a community junkie, which is why I'm here. So my background is I'm actually married to this thing. And my undergraduate degree is in molecular biology. I have a master's from Westminster, so I have an MBA with an emphasis in healthcare data, and I worked with John back in the day. We won't say how long. So I've worked a lot with healthcare data. I've worked a lot with data right now for Pluralsight. That's my current day job. But mostly I'm working on this and focusing.
And I'm going to make a shameless plug. The other conference that I'm working on is Rocky Mountain Celebration of Women in Computing. And I need money. So if any of you work for companies that are interested in women that are the college age and high school girls, that's who the conference is for, please see me afterwards. I'll give you a little more information. For the women in the room, I'm still filling out my panels, and we need a few more good mentors to actually hobnob with these young women. And it is for the Intermountain West, so we're going to have young women from Colorado, Wyoming, Idaho, and Utah attending. So that's a little bit about me. And I can't join the team.
Outlawed.
My name is Drew Brown. I work in IT strategy, so I advise CIOs, cyber strategy, or design, implementing capabilities, and so forth. So, Dylan, if you want to know what a CIO is, I can tell you everything you want to know. My background: bachelor's of accounting, master's in business from BYU. Worked for Ernst & Young, or worked for Microsoft first as a tech. I love them, but I'm a Linux engineer at heart. I worked for Ernst & Young for a number of years in their CIO advisory practice. Left, went to a mid-tier out east called Center Consulting, and founded and grew their IT strategy practice. And I now practice independently advising CIOs. I've consulted in pretty much every industry under the sun. Most of my clients are publicly traded, but government as well. Worked in academia, consulted in higher or K through 12 as well. So that's kind of my background. Part of what really is driving my interest in big data, machine learning, aside from the fact that it's just fascinating work, honestly, is over the past few years, I'm continuing to get pulled in more and more to advise CIOs on how to build analytics capabilities. And I do a lot of work with structuring the organizations, identifying how do you fund it, what's it take, how do you clean the data, find the right people, and so on and so forth. So if you like the work and you want to meet some guys who are looking to hire people, I know a few. That being said, how about hiring?
My name is Dan Brings, and I came in like way past what would be considered fashionably late. So it looks like we're introducing ourselves.
We've been a while yet.
I stumbled into this world really by accident. I got a bachelor's and master's degree in chemical engineering from the University of Utah. And I was working on my master's thesis and was basically exposed to some of this in my thesis work. I now work at Symantec here in Linden. Spent a few years before that in an automotive data consultancy in Nashville, Tennessee. And I'm here because I aspire to one day be able to do some of the things that many of you already do. Thank you.
All right. So you all took too long to introduce yourselves. Thank you. It was great to hear from everybody. So to do kind of a recap on the competition itself and then go to the final piece from all in here. Really, this is for the latecomers. You know who you are. This is a competition to look at education. How do people choose the right college, the right university, the right path? The competition is really designed so you can see what the entire world of data science looks like. We'll have a score chart where you can look through all sorts of things that we've scored. And the only way to really become a grandmaster in this competition is to build a highly collaborative team that takes the right approach for the right reasons and is able to produce a really awesome value. Not necessarily the machine learning scores, but it is a data and machine learning competition. So start thinking about all of these people that you just heard about. I know somebody took some notes and has some data that we can all kind of compute really quick and figure out the ideal team. But if you did it a little bit more manually or whatever, Holden has some ideas to kind of help us put it together and figure out what we're going to do from here.
Yeah, one of the biggest things that I was worried about walking in here was everyone was going to be data scientists, and I was just going to be like, all right, well, how?
Wrong competition for you.
Yeah. And so, this is awesome because this is everyone has a different role that we've just talked about. So there's obviously a good need and a good fit that everyone will have here. So I guess, as part of kind of where we could go from here is maybe, unless you already kind of have in your mind your team that you want to bring on, or you've got a couple people that you're going to be working with. And even if you, even if you do, I think that, one great and healthy exercise that we could go through is to break out maybe amongst groups. And I'm thinking, I don't know, should we start if you're a data scientist, or if you're a newbie, or if you're an admin, kind of break apart, engineer, and then everyone kind of look across the room and see where you can find some merges.
Well, I would almost suggest, one of the things I would probably suggest is who wants to try to be a lead and try to garner other people on their team, because one of the biggest things about forming the team is that if you're all very, very shy, which many of you are, it's an introverted community, and I speak from experience, please, this is not an insult.
Way more than half of you are.
Yeah, I've been here a long time. So my point is that if you are that way, you're going to look for someone to stand up and say, look, I really want to form a team and I want to talk. So what I would probably suggest first is if you are gung-ho and you want to form a team and you believe that's there or something like that, say, I want to form a team, and start putting it up. See, here's one that wants to right here. So, and then start to congregate into those different groups. And yes, look for some of the newer people, look for some random sample, but we want it to be done organically. But again, if we try to go into little groups where everybody's an introvert, nobody's going to speak. So you extroverts out there, now's your time.
There you go.
So
and for those of you that have energy left, please invite those who don't
yes.
look like they will really aggregate to.
Those cover some kind of information somewhere.
So one of the things with coming together like this, you should definitely exchange email address information, that sort of thing. But then you still have time before next week to truly form your team. So this is nothing more than a chance to get to know each other. It does not have to be solid right now. When we start the Slack channel next week, that's where you could truly form it together. But even if you get 30 people that want to be on your team, then start to actually email out and say, okay, who wants to actually be on the team? This is nothing more than a starting point. Yes.
I think there's some questions here about knowing who are data scientists.
Yeah. So in raising your hands, who's data scientists in the?
Technically, nobody is.
Yeah. let's not get into the. Yeah, to say they're a data scientist. So you saw that there's kind of a distribution again. But Bart brings up an excellent point. Nick and I both have been talking about this a lot, and we've talked about this in our groups. Defining a person as a data scientist is extremely difficult right now, because a person that does only R can be a data scientist, and a person that does all SQL could technically be a data scientist for a company. So defining that position is very, very difficult. I would say, once again, as Holden brought up and everything, what do you need on your team to make it successful? That's what really matters. And figuring that out, if you're one of those people that is extrovert and you have an idea in your head of exactly what you already want to do, you're going to know who needs to be on your team. And that's what you're going to ask about. Yes.
We also recruit outside the room.
Yes, yes, absolutely. This is open into the entire community. This is just, these are the people that showed up for this week. If you want to bring people outside, sure. And on Meetup, we will post the link to the Slack and everything else. And we have 1,500 people in our Meetup group. We want them all in there, and we want them talking. But again, if you're a lead or something else, you're going to have to raise your hand and say, this is what I'm looking for in that channel. And then other people are going to have to come to it.
You can also go international.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of things we can do here. We do want at least one member from Utah or Colorado.
Since I was talking past competitions before, I'll bring up Brad. He put up a website and said, this is what I'm recruiting for, and here's all the pieces, and that's kind of how he got people onto the team. So like I said, in Slack, we're going to have we'll just have a channel where you're saying recruiting or something else. But before that, do whatever you need to do to recruit to other people.
Don't give away recruiting
Hey, you told me to talk about past competitions.
So this question, as somebody who doesn't do data full time, who here has like an idea of where you can go to get data sets from this topic?
Yeah.
One of that piece.
The internet.
There's a ton. Great question.
Are you leading the team?
I'm not sure I want to be on
Oh, no, I just, yeah, I mean, there's the college scorecard website, you can download all the.
Yep.
Open Data Portal in Utah. Open Data Portal is really good. There's a lot of open data portals. If you want to go back to some of our air quality stuff or some of those, we have data sets out there. Some not necessarily towards education, but there's a lot of places that talk about where data is and gov sites and stuff like that. We have older training videos on YouTube from Utah Geek Events about how to scrape through PDFs and things like that. So there's a lot of information in the past about what's out there.
Utah.data.gov or Utah.gov/data.
Yeah, it's
education.
Oh, it'll take you, okay.
And what about Pearson? Yeah, you know, with one of our sponsors too, they're talking about getting some public data sets, but they've got some internal. Yeah, it's
Pearson's like.
Yeah, that's a trend. But you know, you can go very granular from the state by state level for sure. Starting with Utah.gov and pull from there. Ed.gov is another great place, and we'll be posting up links too. I think a good place to maybe is like the Slack channel.
Mhm.
We have a live Google Doc where people are posting links and interesting things that they found. And remember, again, there are points for that process of going out and finding the data, bringing it in, everything else, right? And how you choose that is it?
I assume it's allowed to gather new data as long as we make it available.
As long as it's real. But yeah.
30,000 undergraduates.
As long as it can be published, let's put it that way.
It
can be published, yes.
To that point, just to clarify then, my understanding is that any data set that is found and submitted will be available for other teams to draw from. So even if you are not exactly sure where the data is, you're going to be able to leverage the data that other people who do know and are much more familiar.
That's why during this phase, like you said, the sharing on a Google Doc, it's no problem to share. Here's a link to data that we found and what we did. That's a good thing.
One of the great things about the competition is you may end up saying, you know what, we're just not going to have enough in machine learning to really make this valuable. And you will have still been able to score very, very high.
Yeah.
You may not have scored a ton of points early on, maybe because you didn't know the competition existed. But there'll still be a lot of other points that you can still get.
Right.
So that doesn't mean that you don't want to do as much as you possibly can. Okay.
Okay.
Are there any questions, or are you all ready to build together so you can get out of here?
Okay.
So let's get those hands of the team lead again.
Yeah, whoever wants to form into a team lead.
Network quickly and then.
This side of the room, what is it with this side of the room? Yeah, well.
What I'll do is, publish this in a Slack. I can just copy and paste this right there.